Hey, this is Casey the Game Nerd back at you with another pickups video, and in this video I'm going to show you all the things I picked up recently as well as some trades that I've done. So let's start off with this. This is a custom painted Nintendo 64 painted with auto paint. But that's not the cool part about it. On the back there is an HDMI mod, if you can see right here. And this was recently done by my buddy Michael in the Seattle Retro Gamers group, and he installed the Ultra HDMI for the N64, and this recently came out a couple months ago. Basically what it does is it puts a HDMI port, so you could have HDMI output for your N64, and it just looks so much better on LCDs, LED TVs compared to composite. You still have your multi-out, so you can still use S-Video or composite, but the HDMI function is way better, and there's a de-blur function here, gets rid of the blur, and also there's all these filters that you could use, including scanline filters, so it really adds some depth to the video output for this. So definitely check that out. There's some YouTube videos on it if you guys want to get into that. A major trade that I've done lately was with Timothy. He contacted me through the Casey the Game Nerd Facebook page, and he sent me a message saying he was interested in the very rare variant Gotcha, the 5-screw variant. He saw it in one of my pickup videos, and he asked if I would trade it. I didn't have any emotional attachments to it or anything like that, and I don't think I'll go for the 5-screw variant set anymore because it's just a huge list. I got the majority of them, but I decided to kind of stop that, so I traded for it, and he gave me a couple really good quality titles. One is Mortal Kombat Trilogy, and apparently this one's kind of hard to find for Sega Saturn compared to PlayStation 1 or even the N64, and it's getting pretty pricey, so he hooked me up with that. And I was even more excited about this, Mega Man X4. I'm glad to finally add this to my collection, especially for the Sega Saturn. And these recent Sega Saturn pickups have brought me down to about 60 games left for the Saturn set, so I'm really happy with that. So thank you, Timothy. Speaking of Saturn games, I'm going to be showing you a couple stacks here, and the majority of these came from my buddy Nick, who owns a retro shop in North Carolina. It's called Video Game World, and he hooked it up. He gave it to me for under retail price, gave me a 10% discount and free shipping, so thank you for that, Nick. I really appreciate it, and he hooked me up with all these games that I needed for my set. So let's start with Area 51. Really good game. You got to use the stunner gun for that. Virtual Fighter Kids. I remember playing this with my Virtual Stick back in the day. Impact Racing. I don't think I recall playing this one yet, so I'll give that a shot. Darius Gaiden. So this is a shoot 'em up game. Got Rampage World Tour. This is always fun. I think there's a N64 version of that and a PlayStation 1 version. And then we got Primal Rage for Sega Saturn. So that's stack 1. Here's stack 2. Baku Baku. So this is a puzzle game. Multiple players, so 1 to 2. Galactic Attack. This is another shoot 'em up game. I really want to try this one out. I haven't had a chance to try this, and I didn't own it back in the day. Astal, and this is the game that doesn't have words on the spine. So whenever you find a game, let's say you're at a thrift shop or something and they're only showing the spine, and you see a blank spine, it's definitely Astal. We got Sega Sports Decathlete, Night Warriors, Darkstalkers Revenge, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, and I recently got this for the PlayStation 1, so getting it on the Saturn, I really want to compare the two and see which version's better or if maybe they're equal. Street Fighter Collection. So this is a combo disc. It has 2 discs. So it has Street Fighter 2, 2 Turbo, and Alpha 2. So that's pretty cool. And then we got Norse by Northwest, and this is a Lost Vikings series. So actually that one was pretty hard to find. I've been searching for that game for quite a while. Let's move on to another trade I did. This is another SRG trade, Seattle Retro Gamers. So we have a local Facebook group. A lot of local gamers are on that Facebook page. So I did a trade with Ron. He wanted a Valkyrie profile for PS1, Paper Mario for GameCube, Skies of Arcadia for Dreamcast, and then a Dreamcast console with some controllers. He traded me a bunch of stuff. So let's start off with Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. This is a sealed game. So he's not really into sealed games. I mean, I don't collect that many sealed games, but I figured the games I'm giving him I have multiple copies of, so getting these are pretty cool. So this is another sealed game for PlayStation 2, and you can tell by the top that it's sealed. And then I think there's a hang tab on the back, if you could see that. We got Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. This is another sealed title for GameCube. I mean, these are in really good shape, and the cool thing is he found these at a Goodwill for like $2.99 each. So he passed on the discount to me basically for trading for some games he needed, and I had multiples of. So that's just how it works with that group. It's pretty cool. And we got Super Mario Sunshine, and he just threw this in. This is just a complete in case. It's not sealed or anything. And then the last sealed game, this is pretty awesome, Collector's Edition Robotech Battle Cry. Now this is sealed. The inner parts are sealed, but the outer parts you can open, and I'll open this in a second. But the cool thing is it is signed by the developers of the game. So there's multiple signatures here. I can't really identify them all. I think he attempted to do that. I'll ask him for a list. But the game itself is sealed. And then it comes with an exclusive soundtrack, also sealed. And then comes with a pretty cool t-shirt. And I think there's a dog tag in there. And then I'll show you guys the concept art, which is pretty neat. So, there you go. Some really cool concept art here. Okay, so that was the big trade with Ron, and I want to also show you a long box PlayStation 1 game that I picked up, Silverload. I haven't looked into this much, but it's I think it's one of those mouse compatible games. So I'll have to track down a mouse for the PlayStation 1. Let's go over some pawn shop pickups, or one pickup. I got this Nintendo 3DS for 40 bucks. So the reason why it was 40 bucks was it didn't come with a charger, and I was like, okay, there's no charger. Why can't you just give me another one? Well, since this one didn't come with a charger, it was 40 bucks compared to one that did come with a charger, and they were charging 89. So I was like, alright, I'll take this for 40. And it works 100%, nothing wrong with it. A few more pickups. These are from Value Village. Let's start off with this Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Tag Force 2. $2.99. It didn't come with the cards that it usually comes with, but this game has been going up in price. There's a ton of Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans, I guess. And if you guys didn't know, I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in the day. Back in high school, I was ranked first in Washington at one point. I won some regional championships and got some prizes. They had cool prizes back then. I don't know about now. At one point, I was ranked third in the U.S., which is pretty cool. And I even went to the Nationals in San Francisco one year. I don't remember the exact year, but Austin Coleman won that one. And I used to play against him all the time. Back on track, we got Kid Dracula. for a Game Boy. That's a really hard one to find, and I was surprised to find that at the thrift store. And Sonic the Hedgehog for PlayStation 3. I didn't have that one. I was actually looking for that for a while. Alright, let's keep this moving. This I got from the Texas Facebook group, Retro Gaming Facebook group. We have a Final Fantasy II manual. I needed this to complete one of my Final Fantasy IIs. So that's good. And Flintstones, surprise at Dinosaur Peak. This is a reproduction case, or box. And it even comes with a reproduction manual. So I just thought that was pretty cool for 15 bucks shipped. I thought that was a pretty fair deal for that. And lastly, I want to show you something that piqued my interest when I was watching one of Metal Jesus' latest videos. Maybe you guys have watched it, the one with Kelsey, where she shows a lot of the Pokemon games that aren't the standard series games. So these are kind of the one-off Pokemon titles. This one is Pokemon Learn with Pokemon Typing Adventure. So I made sure I got the English version, not the Japanese version, because the Japanese version has different names for their Pokemon. So it comes with the game itself and a keyboard, wireless keyboard, so that you can type the Pokemon names for that game. And I really enjoy typing of the dead, so I really wanted to give this a shot, and it was 20 bucks plus shipping. So and it was brand new, so I broke the seal. So I'll definitely have to try that out. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this week's video. Lastly, I want to show you guys one last thing that I picked up. Okay, this is the latest Mario memorabilia that I picked up. And I sold some N64 games in order to pay for this, but that's definitely worth it because this is a lot harder to find than just your typical Mario Karts and Smash Bros. N64 carts, because you can find that pretty much any time of the year if you look hard enough. But finding this is pretty rare. I've only seen it once at a store before, and that was a long time ago, so I'm glad this one popped up and I was able to snag it. It's, I think, around 50 inches. So it's pretty tall, and right next to it is the Mario statue that I picked up a little bit over a year ago at a garage sale. So both of them standing next to each other, pretty cool. This one here, the latest one, I would consider this maybe a plush, but it's pretty easy to clean if it ever does get dirty. The material, somewhat water resistant. And when I got it, it was in really great shape. And right behind it is the Pikachu statue that I showed you guys before. So really happy to add this to the collection.